love my baby's brown with a strong melanation. Hairdo tied to the Bantu nation. Strong brown eyes and thick brown thighs. If she don't got soul, then she don't got my eyes. I can see.
My name is Javin Daniels. I'm a realtor. Yeah, I'm a realtor with Links Realty Group off of South Mint. Been doing this for about 7 months now. I work with investors and I do some property management, and I do first-time home buyers as well for the millennials.
How y'all doing? My name's Justin, but I go by Uncle Jut. I take pictures. I'm not ready to call myself a photographer, but I take a lot of photos.
My name is Jeremiah Chapman. I am the Director of Engagement for HBCU Pride Nation. I am also, Director of Engagement HBCU Pride Nation, as well as Community Affairs Chair for the NAACP here in Charlotte, amongst a host of other things.
My name is Micah Griffin. I'm originally from Virginia, but now I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm a professor at Livingstone College where I teach health studies and promoting minority health.
Always been a passion of mine. Coming from East St. Louis, Illinois, and just seeing a lot of poverty and abandoned buildings, I always had a vision or the mindset of who owns these buildings, why hasn't anyone fixed things up? So it's just kind of stuck with me. I had not a mentor, but I kind of role modeled Donald Trump as far as his business. Yeah, as far as his business, him coming from his father and then making something bigger in New York, building up Manhattan. So that kind of inspired me to want to do the same thing.
I originally wanted to be a medical doctor, but I was always lived under the notion that you try something once, and if it doesn't work, then you try something else again. So once I realized that the actual medical profession wasn't what I wanted to do, I realized I wanted to actually teach. And I know with teaching, you can actually encourage people and develop an idea in them, so that way they avoid having to go to the doctor altogether. And that was one of my goals, was just to promote health versus actually treating people once they were already sick. So I got into minority health, and I've been fortunate enough to participate in research and working on different grants that just, build a minority community, as well as teaching first-generation college students, and that's definitely my passion.
Actually, my two boys from high school, we had a trip to Miami a couple of years ago for a 30th birthday celebration, and my one bro, Anton, had his camera with him, and I just admired the whole time he was taking these photos. And then a couple months later, my boy JD came to visit me here in Charlotte, and he had his camera with him, and it was a few weeks after that when I bought my first camera.
Well, service, man, and just trying to I guess, educate the community on the most pertinent issues, especially the African American as well as the Latino community. So, a great deal of work in trying to build relationships, building synergy between different organizations. Really just trying to connect people that are already on the same wavelength, people that are already kind of, want the same ends to a means.
Definitely say some health keys is always being aware of what you eat, because if you know anything about the food industry, their main job is to make money. When it comes to making money, they're going to try to do anything they can do to get you to eat what they want you to eat. And I think it all starts with diet. A lot of times when it comes to nutrition or losing weight or just being in shape, a lot of people believe that the gym is the primary goal, but most bodies, as we know, are made in the kitchen and in the gym, and that's, I think, a lot of people take for granted, is that putting their focus on what they eat as well as what they do when they go into the gym is just as important. So I think
God first. I mean, that's my major key. Always do things for others before you do for yourself, and I just really go hard, never try to be complacent. I always try to position and hang around positive people where they can motivate me. I guess you can call it being an opportunist, but I always want to make sure that I'm around people that I can influence and they can influence me as well.
Major keys. I think I posted something on my Facebook yesterday, and people seem to respond well to it. I think the major key is that every leader needs to be willing to fall on the same sword that they're willing to swing. So you have to be willing to, sacrifice yourself, sacrifice your time, sacrifice your ego, mainly, for the sake of progress.
Man, just working harder than the next guy, because there's so many talented photographers out there, or anybody, whatever your craft is. There's so many people trying to get to that next level. You just got to work harder than the next guy. I mentioned earlier, I'm not the best photographer. I'm not the best editor, but no one's going to outwork me, you know.
I mean, they can definitely knock you off your square. You know, I'm a lover. I fall hard. I've had a situation before that happened that we had a breakup, and it kind of knocked me off my game. But for the most part, I think women are encouragers. I mean, behind every great man there's a greater woman, I feel. So for me, I think it's the man to know what he wants and to go out and get it. So if you're focused, you're going to find a woman that's focused at the same time.
Healthy sex tips. Well, I definitely would say the healthiest sex tip. A lot of people might not want to hear this, but it's abstinence. That's the 100% key to avoid any type of sexually transmitted diseases. But we're all realists, and we can be realistic about it and be adults and understand that people are going to make decisions that aren't always the best. So I could definitely say just protect yourself when you go out there, and definitely know who it is that you're being involved with. Because somebody will show you who they are even before you spend time with them or even decide to lay down with them in the bed. So definitely know who you are being involved with, and if you do decide to take that step, always use some type of safety measure. Condoms are always good. That's what we've been using for a long time. But like I said, abstinence is probably the best way. Just avoid that altogether. Wait till you get married, and you'll be all right.
And that was actually, it's funny you asked me that, because that was actually one of the reasons. Now I don't. It sounds so bad. It's gonna sound so shallow. It was actually one of the reasons I actually kind of wanted to come back down south, because when I would come down here as a kid, my mom's from Hickory, like I said, and I'd come down here and I'd always have long hair. I'd always have like my hair like long and flowing or whatever. And all the girls, they take me to like the little rec center or whatever, and all the little girls would be like, "Who is he? Is that your cousin? Is that your cousin?" Because I'd be hanging out with my first cousins and stuff, and I remember feeling like a commodity, and living in Massachusetts, I'd get stared at, I'd be walking down the street with my fro out, and like I said, I went to a Catholic school, and it was in an affluent area, very much so like a south side of Charlotte, South Park Mall area. So I went to school in an area like that, but lived in an area very much so like East Charlotte, right? So I'd walk home from school every day, and people would just, I remember counting actually. So this is a very, I guess, this is a good question, because I remember counting as a kid how many people would stop and stare at me. And I think at one point it got to like 79 or like 81 times I got stared at on the way home, because I lived like 3-4 miles away from where I went to school. So, it was just kind of, it was interesting because it shaped my own self-perspective and self-identity, because at this point I'm very much so visibly black, visibly something, visibly ethnic, and I guess kind of shaped, who I am today.
A lot of people are going to not like this, but Kanye West. I've always been a big Kanye West fan. I realize on paper he comes off as arrogant and things like that, and I understand why people have a hard time, but man, I've been listening to his album since day one, and when you listen to someone's albums and not just the radio singles, and you really try to get to know who they are rather than just read the headlines, he's one of the best creators out there. I went to a concert in Atlantic City with my cousin, and man, I was so inspired after that show. He talked about, in between each song, he talked about being a leader and not a follower, and just whatever your dream is, try to achieve it. Outside of that, I mean, music, Neil Young, same thing. Just if you listen to the words in his music, it's inspirational.
Donald Trump is an interesting character. I like that he's straightforward. I mean, he lets you know that he's about the money, and he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do. For me, I don't like politicians that lie, say they're gonna do one thing and do another. So I mean, I like his honesty. As far as him being good, I don't think he has a compassion for people in general. So you have to be for the people, and I don't think he's for the people. So I would never, vote for Donald Trump in that aspect, because I'll go back to Africa.
Oh, wow. To be honest, I didn't even know anything about HBCUs until, and it's going to sound so bad, until I was probably a senior, or I think I was either a junior or a senior in high school, and, I'm watching Stomp the Yard. I mean, I saw bits and pieces of School Days, different world. I guess I was too young to really put the concept in my head that this is a black school specifically. So I remember watching Stomp the Yard and being so kind of enamored with it. And at the time, I'm thinking I could pop lock myself and all this stuff or whatever. So I'm more so looking at it as a dance movie, not realizing that was an entire culture. So once I got to Johnson C. Smith, I mean, it really just kind of opened up my mind. One of the biggest stereotypes of HBCU is that, folks will say that it doesn't prepare you for the world because the world doesn't look all black and whatever. But to me, people of color are so dominant in the world once we get into the workforce that it's like, if I can do well amongst the top black folks, then I can do well with anybody.
There's a lot of talented people in the Queen City, but no one's really taken over the photography scene until the last 6 months or so, when me and guys like Shots by Jones, Livestone West, I'm the Jam, we kind of just teamed up and try to hit the streets a few times a week and trying to take the New York City urban exploration atmosphere and trying to take that to Charlotte. And it's catching on. We've got a lot of followers that appreciate what we're doing. They support us. So we just want to keep going with that and kind of put Charlotte on the map as far as photography and Instagram photography, urban exploration, things like that.
For me, I mean, gentrification is really it's a touchy subject, because I can try to save where, the inner city, I can try to save it, but at the same time, it's still going to happen. My main focus is really on affordable housing, making sure that we have transitional housing for people that are losing their homes, and to make sure that we are able to provide homes. As we see, there's a lot of apartments that are very high in price. I think we spend 30% or more just for rent alone, and so a lot of people can't afford that. So for me, I have a nonprofit called Legacy Leavers, where our goal in the next 5 to 10 years is to build affordable housing and transitional homes for people in low-income areas.
Nonprofit is called Heal Our People Incorporated. Our website is healourpeople.org. And I originally started in Salisbury, North Carolina, to address some of those concerns that I was talking about in the aspects of fatherhood development, educational access, as well as improving access to health care. And those are the main 3 things that we focus on. Our primary target, our primary population, is the African American male. And like I said, we focus on 3 different campaigns that seek to address some of these disparities. We've been fortunate enough to partner with a lot of different organizations in the community, including Livingstone College, the YMCA, and several public health departments that have really helped us further our mission through the form of minority health fairs that we host at the YMCA, along with a mentor program, as well as a fatherhood success academy. So we're just trying to reach the population where they're at and address all of the aspects of wellness. And that's one of the things that we definitely are very passionate about when it comes to what we're trying to do.
What do I like to spread? Positive energy. Is that the answer y'all looking for? Yeah. No, for me, it's been just positive energy. I'm a fun person to be around. I like to have fun. I like to go wild. So, I mean, for me, it's just positive energy. It's all about living life to the fullest. You never know when your day coming. So it's just about having fun.
Spread. I like to spread awareness, I'll say. I like to spread knowledge. I like to spread influence. One of the things, I guess this is going back to your last question, Key, is that we have to create heirs.
What do I like to spread? I like to spread knowledge. Every chance I get, every opportunity I get, I try to encourage people, and I try to find some way to talk about health, because a lot of people take for granted health, they take for granted their longevity, and they're just focused on now. If we can just defer gratification and really invest in ourselves, we'll live a long, fruitful life, and we'll definitely be able to reverse the stereotype and deny the stereotype and defy it when it comes to all these diseases that we're more prone to get. So any chance I get, any opportunity I get, I try to talk about health, and I try to talk about promoting minority health. So I would definitely say, if we could spread anything, definitely spread knowledge.
I'm sorry?
What do you like to spread?
Inspiration, man. If someone can look at my work and be inspired and pick up a camera or whatever, That's what I want to spread.